welcome to this deep dive. And, well, we're going to try to unravel a Hollywood mystery.
Okay.
And it's one that's glamorous but also tragic.
Mm-hmm.
It's the death of actress Natalie Wood.
Wow.
And our guide for today is this fascinating article.
Okay.
It's called Natalie Wood's Death, Inside This Haunting Mystery.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we're going to navigate a world of like star-studded yacht trips,
Oh, wow.
conflicting accounts,
Uh-huh.
a husband who's a prime suspect.
Okay.
So buckle up.
Yeah.
The central question we're exploring is simple,
Okay.
but also chilling.
All right.
Was Natalie Wood's death just a tragic accident or something more sinister?
Yeah.
Now, most of us, I think, know Natalie Wood from those iconic roles.
Right.
Films like Miracle on 34th Street,
Yeah.
Rebel Without a Cause.
Sure.
She became a star so young, just 8 years old.
Wow.
But there's this eerie detail
Okay.
from her childhood.
What's that?
A fortune teller
Oh,
warned her mother about dark water.
Oh.
Gives you goosebumps.
All right, little bit. Yeah.
Almost like foreshadowing.
Yeah, like straight out of Hollywood.
Right.
Yeah.
It really does.
It certainly adds a layer of mystery to the whole thing.
It does.
But what I find really interesting is how her early success might have played a role later in her life.
Okay.
You know, think about the pressure,
Yeah.
the instability child actors face.
Totally.
How does that shape their relationships, their choices,
Right.
you know, their views on life, even death?
Oh, yeah.
It's a question worth considering
Yeah.
as we kind of delve deeper.
For sure. So picture this.
All right.
Thanksgiving weekend, 1981.
Okay.
Natalie Wood is on her yacht, the Splendour,
Okay.
with her husband, Robert Wagner,
All right.
her co-star, Christopher Walken, and the boat's captain, Dennis Davern.
Okay.
So, you know, sounds like a relaxing getaway, right?
It does.
But it ends in tragedy.
Okay.
The initial police report declared her death a drowning accident.
Uh,
Case closed, right?
well, not quite.
Okay.
Right from the start, there were some red flags.
What do you mean?
So we know Natalie Wood had a deep fear of water,
Okay.
which makes it unlikely she'd go for a swim alone,
Yeah.
especially at night.
Right.
Then there's the dinghy.
Uh-huh.
It was found beached separately. And let's not forget the unexplained bruises on her body.
Oh, wow.
So these inconsistencies, they immediately raise questions about that official accident ruling.
If you were the investigator on this case,
Right.
wouldn't those inconsistencies
Yeah.
make you take a second look?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, and years later, those doubts grew stronger.
How so?
Well, when the captain, Dennis Davern, changed his story,
What?
yeah,
Okay.
in 2011, he came forward with some explosive revelations.
Oh, wow.
He described arguments
Okay.
fueled by jealousy,
Uh-huh.
Wagner's alleged outburst at Walken,
Mm-hmm.
a fight moving onto the deck, and then silence.
Oh, my God.
It's a stark contrast to that initial image
Yeah.
of a peaceful getaway,
Totally.
right?
So we have the captain painting this picture
Yeah.
of a tense, volatile atmosphere
Right.
on the yacht. But hold on.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken, who was also there,
Right.
offered a very different account.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he acknowledged a disagreement,
Okay.
but downplayed the fight, maintaining that accident theory.
Interesting.
Two witnesses.
Yeah.
Two totally different versions of that night.
Exactly. And those conflicting accounts,
Yeah.
they are crucial.
Oh.
They throw the entire timeline into question.
Right.
They force us to scrutinize motives,
Yeah.
turning a seemingly straightforward case
Uh-huh.
into this maze of possibilities.
Wow.
It's like a puzzle
Yeah.
where the pieces just don't quite fit together.
Yeah. Okay, now let's add another piece to this puzzle.
Okay.
Wagner's behavior
Right.
after Wood's disappearance.
Okay.
He delayed calling for help and was hesitant to use spotlights.
Oh, wow.
So these actions raise serious concerns for investigators.
Later on.
Yeah, later on,
Uh.
what do you make of this?
Well,
It's understandable, right? Someone might be in shock
sure, yeah.
after such an event.
Right.
But his actions seem odd.
Yeah, it's true that shock and guilt can manifest in unexpected ways,
Okay.
clouding judgment,
Yeah.
leading to actions that could be misconstrued as suspicious.
Right.
But on
Yeah.
the other hand,
Yeah.
wouldn't a grieving husband be desperate to find his wife
You would think, right?
as quickly as possible?
Right. Yeah.
Wouldn't he be the first one to suggest every possible avenue
Yeah.
to locate her?
For sure.
This discrepancy, along with the other inconsistencies, that's what fueled the suspicion around Wagner.
I see.
Right.
Okay, and then adding another layer of intrigue.
Okay.
Is this witness on a nearby boat?
Okay.
Marilyn Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
She reported hearing a woman's desperate cries for help that night.
Oh, my God.
Chillingly, those cries were dismissed as a joke at the time.
Oh, wow.
Just imagine those screams echoing across the water.
Right.
Ignored, and then silence.
It sends shivers down your spine,
I know.
doesn't it?
It does.
This detail introduces the element of a potential cover-up,
Right.
raising the stakes,
Yeah.
and making you wonder what else could be hidden
Right.
beneath the surface
Totally.
of this seemingly idyllic Hollywood setting.
So we have this web of conflicting stories.
Yeah.
Suspicious behavior, unexplained physical evidence.
Right.
Is it any wonder that the case was reopened in 2011?
The reopening was a turning point.
Okay.
Dennis Davern's revised testimony was a key factor.
Okay.
It led to a crucial change in Natalie Wood's death certificate.
Really?
Instead of accidental drowning,
Yeah.
the cause of death was amended
yeah.
to include undetermined factors.
Wow.
This isn't just a technicality,
Right.
it's a legal acknowledgement that there are unanswered questions,
Yeah.
that the initial conclusion of an accident might have been premature.
And as of 2018,
Yeah.
the police officially classified the death
I like
as
this.
suspicious. Robert Wagner was named a person of interest,
Right.
but he has consistently refused to cooperate with the investigation.
Really?
Yeah. For our listeners who may not be familiar with legal terminology,
Yeah.
a person of interest
Yeah.
is someone who hasn't been arrested or formally accused of a crime,
Right.
but is considered a focus of the investigation.
Okay.
This raises another question.
What's that?
If he's innocent,
Yeah.
wouldn't he want to clear his name
You would think so.
by cooperating?
It's a valid question.
Right.
However, it's essential to remember that individuals
Okay.
have the right to remain silent
Yeah.
and not incriminate themselves,
Right.
even if it raises public suspicion.
Right.
So it's a complex situation
Yeah.
where legal rights intersect with the emotional weight
Of course.
of a potential crime.
Yeah. It certainly adds another layer of complexity
Yeah.
to this already convoluted case.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here?
Right.
What happens when we have a cold case,
Mm-hmm.
conflicting accounts,
Right.
and a prime suspect
Yeah.
who refuses to cooperate?
Well, that's where things get even more challenging.
Okay.
Yeah, we're dealing with like fading memories,
Right.
potential loss of evidence,
Mm.
and the difficulty of proving anything
Yeah.
definitively after so many years.
Right.
It's frustrating,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
for those seeking justice and closure.
It's like trying to piece together
Right.
a shattered mirror.
Exactly.
Right. You might be able to reconstruct parts of the image,
Yeah.
but some fragments
Mm-hmm.
will always be missing.
Right.
And in this case, those missing pieces,
Yeah.
they're crucial to understanding what happened
Absolutely.
to Natalie Wood.
Natalie.
So we're left grappling with these big questions.
Yeah, what are those?
Was it a tragic accident?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a misadventure
Right.
gone wrong?
Yeah.
Or was it something more deliberate?
Okay.
Something darker?
And the fact that a key player,
Right.
Robert Wagner,
Right.
remains silent just adds fuel to the fire. It makes you wonder, what is he holding back?
Right.
Does he have information that could shed light on the truth?
Yeah.
Or is he just simply protecting himself?
It's fascinating how this case, even after all these years,
I know.
continues to ignite debate.
It really does.
Right.
Yeah.
It feels like everyone has an opinion, a theory about what happened.
It's almost become like a cultural touchstone,
Yeah.
you know, a case that people use to analyze human behavior,
Right.
relationships,
Yeah.
the dark side of fame.
It's a reminder that behind the glitz and glamour of Hollywood,
Right.
there are real people
Yeah.
with complex lives,
Essentially.
vulnerabilities, and secrets.
And sometimes those secrets have deadly consequences.
Let's dive into some of the specifics of the case.
Okay.
One of the most debated aspects
Mm-hmm.
is the possibility of foul play.
Right.
Could someone have intentionally harmed Natalie Wood?
Well, the physical evidence
Okay.
is ambiguous.
What do you mean?
The bruises on her body
Mm-hmm.
could be consistent with a struggle,
Okay.
but they could also be explained by accidental injuries
Right.
sustained during a fall
Okay.
or while trying to reboard the dinghy.
Right.
So without conclusive forensic evidence,
Yeah.
it's difficult to say for certain.
But what about the witness testimony?
Okay.
We have the Captain Dennis Davern,
Right.
alleging a fight between Wagner and Wood. We have Marilyn Wayne,
Yeah.
the witness from the nearby boat,
Right.
recalling those chilling screams for help.
Yeah.
Don't these accounts point towards a possible altercation?
They certainly raise the possibility.
Right.
Yeah. However, eyewitness testimony
Okay.
can be notoriously unreliable, especially in emotionally charged situations.
Right.
Memories can be distorted over time,
Okay.
influenced by external factors,
Mhm.
or even unconsciously fabricated.
It's true. The human mind is a complex thing.
It is.
We try to fill in the gaps in our memories.
Yeah.
Create narratives that fit our perceptions
Right.
or biases.
Exactly.
Makes you wonder, can we ever truly rely on eyewitness accounts
It's a good question.
to reconstruct the past?
It's a question that legal experts grapple with constantly.
Yeah.
Eyewitness testimony can be compelling,
Sure.
but it's important to approach it with a critical eye,
Okay.
considering factors like stress,
Right.
lighting conditions, the passage of time,
Mhm.
potential motives for embellishment
Okay.
or fabrication.
Speaking of motives,
Yeah.
let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Jealousy.
Right.
The article hints at possible romantic tension
Okay.
between Natalie Wood and Christopher Walken. Could jealousy have played a role in the events of that night?
It's certainly a possibility.
Okay.
Jealousy is a powerful emotion
Right.
that can drive people to act in irrational, even dangerous ways.
Wow.
So if Wagner perceived a threat to his marriage, it's conceivable that his actions were influenced by a fit of jealousy,
Okay.
leading to a confrontation that spiraled out of control.
So we're left with this tangled web of possibilities.
Yeah.
A tragic accident, a heated argument that turned fatal,
Right.
or a deliberate act fueled by jealousy.
It's almost like a classic Hollywood film noir,
I know, right?
full of intrigue, suspicion, unanswered questions.
And just like in those film noirs,
Right.
the truth often remains elusive.
Yeah, hidden in the shadows.
Right.
Leaving the audience to ponder
Mm.
the motivations and actions.
Of course, of the characters.
It's a reminder that even in a world of fame and fortune,
Yeah.
where lives seem to play out under a spotlight.
There are still secrets lurking beneath the surface.
Absolutely.
Secrets that can have tragic consequences.
And sometimes those secrets go to the grave,
Right?
leaving us with this haunting sense of mystery
Yeah,
and a yearning for closure
of course.
that may never come.
This case, with its mix of glamour,
Yeah.
tragedy,
Right.
unanswered questions,
Uh-huh.
continues to fascinate us.
It does.
Because it forces us to confront the murky depths
Yeah.
of human relationships
Right.
and the limits of our understanding.
It reminds us that even with meticulous investigations
Yeah.
and years of speculation,
Right.
the truth can remain just out of reach. And perhaps that's the most unsettling aspect
What's that?
of this case.
Yeah.
The fact that we may never know for sure what happened that night
Wow.
on the Splendour.
Right.
We're left with pieces of a puzzle
Yeah.
that may never fully fit together.
What stands out to you as the most perplexing piece of this
Oh.
puzzle? What keeps you up at night when you think about this case?
For me, it's the conflicting accounts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
How can two people experience the same event
Right.
and yet have such drastically different
Yeah.
memories of it?
It's wild. Right.
What does that tell us about the fragility of memory,
Mm-hmm.
the subjective nature of truth?
It's a fascinating question.
It is.
It makes you wonder, can we ever truly know what happened?
Yeah.
Even if we were there ourselves?
Yeah.
It really does.
Absolutely. And I think that's why this case, even after decades,
Right.
continues to resonate with people you know.
Yeah.
It challenges our assumptions about truth, justice,
Uh-huh.
the limits of our perception.
We've explored Natalie Wood's journey, from
Right.
child star
Yeah.
to Hollywood icon.
Right.
We dissected the events
Yeah.
of that fateful Thanksgiving weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We grappled with those conflicting accounts, the suspicious behavior,
Right.
that enduring mystery
Yeah.
that hangs over it all.
It's a lot.
But there is one element
Yeah.
we haven't touched on yet,
Okay.
the impact of this case
Right.
on those closest to Natalie.
It's important to remember that beyond the headlines
Yeah.
and the theories,
Uh-huh.
there were real people
Yeah.
deeply affected by this tragedy.
Of course.
Natalie Wood's daughters,
Right.
her sister,
Yeah.
her friends and colleagues,
Right.
they all had to navigate the grief
Yeah.
the confusion and the public scrutiny
Of course.
that followed her death
It's easy to get caught up in the intrigue of the case,
is
but we can't forget the human toll.
right.
For those who loved Natalie Wood,
Mm-hmm.
the pain of her loss
Yeah,
is compounded by the unanswered questions, the
absolutely.
lingering doubts.
And the media frenzy
Oh, yeah.
that surrounded the case,
Right.
with its constant speculation
Yeah.
and often insensitive portrayals,
Right.
undoubtedly added to their suffering.
It's a reminder that even in cases that capture the public imagination,
Right.
it's crucial to approach them with empathy and respect
Absolutely.
for those most affected.
Yeah.
So as we near the end of our deep dive,
Okay.
what can we take away from this complex,
Right.
tragic story?
Yeah.
What lessons can we learn
Mm.
from the death of Natalie Wood?
I think one of the key takeaways is the importance of critical thinking.
Okay.
We've seen how easily narratives can be shaped,
Right.
how memories can be fallible,
Mhm.
and how crucial it is to examine evidence
Yeah.
from multiple perspectives
Okay.
in a world bombarded with information.
Yeah.
It's more important than ever to develop those skills,
Okay.
to discern truth from fiction,
Yeah.
to question assumptions,
Mhm.
resist jumping to conclusions.
It's about being discerning consumers of information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not just accepting what we're told,
Yeah.
but actively engaging with the evidence
Right.
and forming our own informed opinions.
And this applies not only to high-profile cases,
Right.
like Natalie Wood's,
Yeah,
but to our everyday lives as well.
absolutely.
Right.
Whether we're evaluating news stories,
Mhm.
navigating social media, or
Yeah.
making decisions that impact our lives,
Right.
critical thinking is an essential tool.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Another important lesson,
Yeah.
as we mentioned earlier, is the need for empathy.
Right.
It's easy to get caught up in the drama,
Yeah, the intrigue,
right? The speculation.
the speculation.
But we must remember that real lives are at stake.
Absolutely.
We should approach these stories with sensitivity and respect
For sure.
for those who have suffered loss and continue to grapple
Yeah.
with the aftermath.
This case, in many ways, reflects
Mhm.
the complexities of human nature.
It does.
It's a story of love, ambition, jealousy, and loss.
It really is.
It's a reminder that even those who seem to have it all,
Right.
the fame, the fortune, the adoring fans,
Yeah.
they're still vulnerable to the same human frailties
Mhm.
that affect us all.
It's a reminder that life is precious,
Yes, it is.
that relationships are complex,
Yes.
and that sometimes,
Yeah.
even in the brightest of spotlights,
Mhm.
darkness can prevail.
And perhaps that's the most enduring legacy of Natalie Wood.
What's that?
Not just her iconic performances on screen,
Right.
but the enduring mystery
Yeah.
that surrounds her death.
It.
A mystery that continues to challenge our perceptions
Right.
and remind us of the enduring power of unanswered questions.
We've reached the surface
Okay.
of our deep dive into the Natalie Wood case.
Yeah.
We explored the evidence,
Right.
analyzed the theories,
Mhm.
grappled with that enduring enigma of her death.
It's a lot.
But ultimately, the question of what truly happened that night
Yeah.
remains unanswered.
And perhaps it'll always remain that way.
Maybe so.
But the process of exploring this case,
Right.
of examining the evidence,
Ah.
and considering the different perspectives has hopefully encouraged you to think critically,
Right.
to question assumptions,
Yeah.
and to appreciate the complexities of truth and human nature.
And as we conclude this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
As you go about your day,
Mm-hmm.
as you encounter other stories, other mysteries, remember the lessons we've gleaned from this case.
Right.
Be curious, be skeptical,
Yeah.
be empathetic,
Absolutely.
and never stop seeking the truth,
Yeah.
even when it seems elusive,
Right.
even when the answers remain submerged beneath the surface.